You're listening to TurkishSoccer.com's Turkish Football and Turkish Super League podcast. Hello, everyone. My name is Ahmet Turgut. Welcome to a brand new edition of Turkish Super League podcast. Next 15 minutes, I'll recap what happened in the week 32. We'll preview the upcoming matches starting Saturday, which is tomorrow, week 33. And we'll give you inside information from Turkish Super League, also the Turkish Cup semifinals first round matches. So stay tuned for those. But first, well, the race on top is getting very hot, as I've been saying this on this podcast. As you know, one time the gap on top was like 9 points. If we go back to week 27, that's when the gap was that big. But ever since I've been saying this, Galatasaray lost to Konyaspor. Galatasaray team is eating from their pockets. Now the gap is on top is only 3 points. And the race is getting hotter for Galatasaray right now. And I've been saying this, another thing, Galatasaray was the best team. They were most likely were going to be the champions of this season. Right now, a lot of Galatasaray fans are feeling a little itchy about the championship. And I'll tell you why. Because if we look at the last 5 matches that is going to be happening, and if we count 2 matches that Fenerbahce has forfeit matches, Galatasaray has only forfeit matches, and Besiktas have only 1 match against those earthquake zone teams where they're going to be automatically collect 3 points in those matches. So if we count those right now, the Fenerbahce and Galatasaray, they're at deadlock 73 points. But we're not going to talk about that. It's still after week 32, Galatasaray sits on top of Turkish Super League with 70 points. The gap between Fenerbahce and Galatasaray is only 3 points, and Fenerbahce is in second place with 67 points. Besiktas is in third place with 65 points. But don't forget, Besiktas have one bye weekend, which that weekend they're not going to be collecting any points, but they do have, as I said, 1 match, that forfeit match against the earthquake zone team. They will collect 3 points. So chances for Besiktas to claim the title, it's pretty slim. But the thing is, it depends on what Galatasaray and Fenerbahce will do in the weeks coming. Because after Besiktas beating Galatasaray in their own turf 3-1 this past weekend, everything has changed on top. Because if you look at it, Fenerbahce winning and Besiktas beating Galatasaray, that is why the gap is only 3 points after the week 32. Now, the race on top is very hot. The relegation zone is pretty hot too, as you know, because of the earthquake zone teams, Gaziantepspor and Hatayspor. They are pulled out from the league, but they will be in the Turkish Super League next season. That is why Turkish Football Federation decided to have 2 relegation teams dropping down to lower division. So the biggest right now, the team that is already not mathematically, but I think Ümraniyespor is pretty much done, because they are with the last team if we look at the standings as far as the points. The other team, the second team, who will be, we will find out in the future upcoming matches. The reason why? Giresunspor, Istanbulspor at home, after beating Giresunspor at home in Istanbul on Monday, 1-0, gained huge success. They are pretty much right now very comfortable, but they're still in the danger zone. And Ümraniye with 23 points, Giresunspor with 27 points, and Istanbulspor moved up to 15th place with 32 points. Now, the teams with 32, 34, 35, 36, even 37 points, which teams are Istanbulspor, Kasımpaşa, Ankaragücü, Antalyaspor, and Sivasspor in next 5-6 matches. If they don't win their matches, they're going to be in trouble. Because if Giresun, very important match coming up this weekend in Giresun, if they lose that match, they're pretty much done like Ümraniye too. Because, let's face it, on the bottom of these teams, one of them, either Giresun, Istanbul, even Kasımpaşa, Ankaragücü, could end up being the second team going down to a lower division. So there's going to be a lot of matches, a lot of tough matches coming up in the weeks. And also, just to give you a reminder, after this weekend, week 33, week 34, and week 35 will be back-to-back. We'll play. So 2 tough weekends, and in 1 week, you'll see 7 days, teams will be playing 2 matches after week 33. As I said, week 34 and week 35th will be played back-to-back. So week 32, I think it was pretty much the biggest news you probably heard around. It was the upset. I would say it's not an upset. Besiktas played much better than Galatasaray. And even though Icardi scored the first goal in the 20th minute, now Icardi has 14 goals so far. And Besiktas answered before the halftime with Roman Saiz with a header and tied the match. And Besiktas kept that pressure in the second half. And Amir scored a second goal. And Besiktas went up 2-1 in the injury time. Abu Bakar came in the scene in the 93rd minute. And he scored the third goal. And Besiktas won this match. Very important match. But let's face it, if you heard me, my last podcast, I said to order win this match for teams, they have to have very good midfield. In this case, Galatasaray midfield was not good. And Galatasaray goalkeeper Muslera was not good. Besiktas goalkeeper Matt Günok saved pretty good goals, even though he didn't do much. I think the most probably valuable player in this match was, if you ask me, Getson Fernandes. First time in this season, Brazilian young star, played fantastic match. And also Amir in the midfield and a couple other players. And I think they made the difference for Besiktas. Now, physic-wise, I think Besiktas was better. Tall players. Torreira was too small against Omar Kohli. And I think Besiktas defense and midfield and forwards, Besiktas was a better team as a team against Galatasaray. Galatasaray defense did not look good. Midfield did not look good. Other than Icardi scoring that goal, they did not have other shots on the goal. That was one shot Galatasaray had, and Icardi scored that. So, as I've been saying that, from gap from 9 points to 3 points. Now the gap will be dropping. I think if the Galatasaray does not change their some of the play style, because pretty much all the teams know how Galatasaray plays pretty much now. So, and week 32, we look at the standings pretty much. As I said, Galatasaray sits on top with 70 points. Fenerbahçe with 67, and Besiktas with 65 points. Coming into week 33, week 33 will start on Saturday. Tomorrow, there will be 2 matches. Besiktas will be traveling to Antalya. Very important match because Antalya is in danger zone. If they lose this match, and they're going to be in trouble too if the other teams in the danger zone, they win their matches. So it's very important team matches for both teams, Besiktas and Antalya. Adana Demirspor, the 4th place team, will be at home against Alanya. This should be a very good match too. On Sunday, you have Ümraniye and Sivasspor. Ümraniye, pretty much, as I said, looking for miracles in the Turkish Super League, and they will face Sivasspor. Sivasspor will be traveling to Istanbul. Now, Konyaspor will be at home against Kayserispor, and Hatay Istanbulspor match, as you know, it is the earthquake zone team. The Istanbulspor will collect 3 points from there without playing. That is why I said Istanbulspor point will be 35 at the end of week 33. It is very important match for Giresun coming up on Sunday. Giresun will be facing second place team, title chase contender Fenerbahçe. It is a huge match of the weekend, if you ask me. It will be happening on Sunday in Giresun. Giresunspor with 27 points, and Fenerbahçe is in second place with 67 points. So it should be a huge match. This will decide pretty much the top and the bottom who would be going down to a lower division. On Monday, there are 2 matches. Trabzonspor will host Ankaragücü, and Galatasaray will be at home against Başakşehir. Now, this is another huge match. Now, this time, usually what's happening in the last few weekends, Galatasaray used to play first. Now, this weekend, Besiktas starts the week, and then Fenerbahçe plays on a Sunday, and after all these scores in, Galatasaray will look at and then go against Başakşehir. That is why it is huge match. If Besiktas and Fenerbahçe wins their matches on Saturday and Sunday, pretty much going into this match, the points will be evened up with Fenerbahçe and Galatasaray. The stress will be on Galatasaray. And Başakşehir playing their Turkish Cup semi-final match just yesterday and beating Ankaragücü 1-0. Also on Wednesday, Sivasspor at home played against Fenerbahçe in the semi-final first leg match, and that match ended with 0-0 score. So the second legs of these Turkish Cup semi-final matches will be playing in May 25th or 26th. So in between these Turkish Super League matches, you have matches for Turkish Cup matches, semi-final second leg matches for Fenerbahçe, Başakşehir, and Sivasspor. So it is, they're going from 2 different directions. So, and back-to-back matches on week 34 and 35, it's going to affect one of these teams, if you ask me. So it is going to be a tough weekend, and we'll see what happens, but nothing is done yet. So I know my 15 minutes coming up, and also earlier the weekend I was on the Lions Den podcast. The guys that does the Galatasaray podcast, I want to thank them. If you're a Galatasaray fan, listen to their podcast, The Lions Den. Thanks, Ahmet. Thanks, Sinan. And listen to my podcast, wherever you listen to your podcast. Also, visit me on Turkish Soccer on Twitter, also Turkish Football. See you next time. Bye-bye.